Hello you guys, today is Monday and welcome back to my channel. We're starting off a reading vlog of sorts. I am starting with Broken Country by Claire Leslie Hall. This is my book club book for this month, and when I read the description, it sounded intriguing and I was pretty excited to pick it up. I was finishing up a different book, so I was waiting to get it started, and I'm so glad that I did. I just started it last night. Because of that, I'm not really far into it. I'm about 10% of the way through and I'm on page 34. So far, what it's about is this woman, her name is Beth, and she's sort of our main character. It's going back and forth between 1955 and 1968. She's currently married to a man named Frank, but in her teenage years, she was in love with this other man named Gabriel, and he was super wealthy. Like, his family was really well off. He's basically now, like in 1968, he's like a super famous author. So she's kind of like seeing him again for the first time in a really long time, and it seems like some feelings are coming back up, except it has some like maybe thrillery type, not thrillery, maybe mystery type elements. There's also a trial happening, which seems to be with her husband, and he's basically in court, and it sounds like they think that he killed somebody. So there's like a lot of weird things happening that like we don't really know how the pieces are puzzling together quite yet. Beth used to have a son as well who passed away from an accident. All of these things are not spoilers, by the way. These are all on the back of the book, so just to be clear, I also know like close to nothing about this book so far, but those are all like the elements of the book that have been intriguing me and the reason why I wanted to pick it up. I picked it up again last night and mostly read it this morning because last night I basically just picked it up to go to bed. And so far, within the first 10% of the book, it almost is giving me a similar feeling, like not story-wise or storyline-wise, but just the feeling of reading it. It feels really similar to Where the Crawdads Sing, and that book I was obsessed with. I loved it. I loved the movie. I think I read that book within like literally a single day. It was so good. And that was actually the very first book I've ever read on Kindle, which is funny now that I think about it. And I remember just flying through it. But yeah, I loved it, and it's giving me like similar feelings, and so it just makes me want to sit around and read all day. I do have work this week, but I actually have 2 days off, so I only have a 3-day week, so we'll actually get to a lot more reading than I think we normally do, which will be kind of a nice feeling. I have to make an appointment for my car, so maybe we'll like have to wait on that and we can just like go to a coffee shop and read. We'll see what we get up to this week. I don't really know. We do have quite a few plans this weekend, to be honest, but other than that, during the week itself, I think we'll have a lot of time to get some reading done. So we'll start off with this book. I don't know how many books we'll read, if we'll only read this book, if we'll get to read 2 books. I don't normally read 2 books in a week. I usually read about 1 a week, but we'll see because I'm also devouring this one. Let's get into it. All right, I am now 14% of the way through, which is still not very far. I'm on page 46. This book is kind of making me sad in a really good way, but in like a sad way as well, because there's a bit of like a love triangle, kind of. You're getting backstory of how our main character, Beth, has felt about the man that she's now married to and this other man, and you're getting the then and now. And so when you're seeing the then and how in love she was and the now, and you're seeing her husband see her interact, it's making me sad, but like it's so good. I have been in kind of like a weird reading year. From the get-go this year, I was kind of in a reading slump. I've read some really great books. I've read some books that I've really enjoyed, but overall I haven't gotten that feeling of like I want to put everything down. I want to skip work to read. I want to not watch TV. Like I just want to like get into a book, and this book is finally doing it for me, and it feels so good. I can already tell that there's going to be so many emotions about this book. There's so many details about this book that feel so real. Like the characters already 49 pages into the book feel like real people. They feel very developed. They don't feel like you're starting from scratch with somebody. Like it feels like you're just getting to know somebody who is a fully developed person, which I really enjoy. And the things that they're going through are very real too. It's very intriguing, and yeah, I can already tell that I think this is going to be a bit of an emotional book. I think also there are some things in here that I resonate with that may be emotional to me, that might not be emotional to every reader, but I like that. I really enjoy that. I'm excited to continue reading. I do have to pause right now though because I am just starting work. So hopefully around like my lunch break and after work, we will get to some more reading. Okay, it is officially after work now, and I really want to get back into Broken Country, but before I do, I need to finish a reading vlog that I'm editing for you guys. So I'm gonna sit here for a sec, edit that, and then we will head off back to Broken Country. I can't stop thinking about it, and I just want to get back into it. So I'm gonna work as fast as I can on this so that I can get back into my book. It is so much later now. I did not finish editing my reading vlog, but we'll do that in the morning. But I wanted to get some reading done today, so I am now on chapter 16 and page 66. For some reason I thought there were 350 pages of this book, but there's actually only around 300. It's still alternating between like a before and now type of time jump. The before time being 1955 or roughly around there, and then the now time being 1968, and then every now and then the trial chapters are interspersed. We still don't know why there's a trial or like what's happening. On the back of the book it says that the brother kills a dog, but that's not what the trial is about, from what I understand at least so far, because the dog thing happens like in like the first chapter. That's like how the book starts. So I don't really know what the trial is quite yet, but I'm intrigued to find out. I feel like it kind of reads, it still definitely gives me the same vibes as Where the Crawdads Sing, which makes me so happy because I loved that book. But it's interesting because on all of the chapters it reads like a historical fiction, and then these trial chapters are brought in, and then you're like, oh yeah, there's a mystery element, like what's happening? So I'm very excited to like continue to learn more. Honestly, each of the chapters are like 10 minutes or less to read, and it's just so fast paced and so interesting. There's like so many elements to it. A love triangle that exists, and like you seeing how all of that ends up because you have the like 1968 chapters, but then also wanting to understand how that all worked out in 1955. So like there's just so many elements happening, and I like it a lot. I'm honestly like just thinking about it constantly and wanting to pick it up any second that I can. I'm really enjoying it. I'm excited to continue reading it. I'm gonna head off to bed now. 9:20 right now. So I'm gonna start heading off to bed, and I'm going to read while I'm going to bed. And hopefully I get a couple of chapters read tonight, and then we will read some more in the morning as well. Let's get to it and let's keep reading. It's actually been a second since I last checked in with you guys. This morning I woke up at 5:15 to read, and I just read and read and read. Like, I was supposed to wake up early to edit part of my video, and I did end up stopping around like 7:15, so I read for about 2 hours straight. But I was supposed to wake up at 5:15 to edit the video, and I ended up reading. I still got the video done, but anyway, it was great. I'm now almost 40% of the way through the book, and I am on chapter 24. This book is a shorter book, so I have like 4.5 hours left of the book. I'm on part 2. So this book is split up into sections, 5 sections. Part 2 is called Bobby, and Bobby is our main character's son who passed away. Right now, honestly, I don't have too many updates for you. All I really feel is that I've been loving this book a lot. She has now gotten closer and closer to her ex. Like, she's just kind of like seeing him more around town. And I reread some of the chapters that were called like trial. So a lot of times with books like this, there will be like a first chapter that's kind of ambiguous on purpose, and then it'll go into the rest of the chapters, and then you start to get to know who characters are and all of that. But at the beginning, when you're reading this like really heavy hitting chapter, you have no idea who is who, so it doesn't like mean as much to you. So a lot of the time I'll go back to that first chapter and I'll reread at least a piece of it just to like see what I think I was maybe missing. I have a theory now, and I'm kind of nervous because I'm still gonna like it no matter what, but more of like, you know how sometimes you can really enjoy a book but not like a character? I'm nervous that that's gonna be the case, and I really hope that it's not what I think it is, but I'm very curious to see. I'm also wondering if the whole book is making you think that it's something and then it'll have a twist at the end, and I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out. My plan is to honestly just try to sit down and read this for as long as I possibly can for the rest of the night, and then tomorrow morning, and I'll probably wake up early again tomorrow. It's 8:45 right now, so I only have a little bit of time left before I head off to bed. So I don't know how much I'll actually get done, but something else that I really enjoy about this book is that each of the chapters is so short and like digestible, which makes it so easy to just quickly pick up a chapter here and there, and it just makes the whole reading experience feel so much better. Instead of like a 30-minute chapter, I have a 7-minute chapter. I would prefer 60 chapters that are each like 5 minutes over like one 30-minute chapter, you know what I mean? So anyway, I am loving it, and I'm excited to continue reading it, and I have some theories, but I don't know how it's all gonna play out, so let's find out and let's see what happens next. I'm hopeful that I can finish this book within like the next day or so. Good morning, you guys. I'm taking some time to read this morning. I'm still reading Broken Country and I am almost 50% of the way through. Something that I was saying yesterday, actually two things. One was that I was saying I was nervous that, or not nervous, but like I kind of had an inkling as to like who was actually on trial and who was killed because we still don't actually know. And I thought it was leading us in one direction, but after rereading those trial chapters, I was like, wait, I have a feeling that it's actually like this other way around. In the last trial chapter, we got more information that made me feel like my hunch was correct. I still don't know for certain, and I feel like they're gonna do something that's like another twist because I don't know, I just feel like this book is gonna be full of surprises. I also was saying yesterday that I feel like there's instances where I really love our characters, but I kind of don't like one of our main characters. And what I mean by that, because it keeps coming up for me as like the chapters continue on. For me, she's making all of the wrong decisions and she knows she's making the wrong decisions. She's actively saying like, I know that this is not the right thing to do, but I literally cannot stop myself. Rather than me not liking her, it's more that I just like feel for her because you can tell that like it hurts her not to do these things, but she knows she shouldn't do them. And that's just like such a hard place to be in because partially it's because she's grieving. It's very interesting and I'm really loving it. I'm flying through it still. So we'll see how much we get done today. I have 4 hours left of the book. Maybe I could finish it today. That would be crazy. We'll see. I'm so into it. I'm in a chapter right now and I'm excited to continue learning more. I just finished with the chapter that was so intriguing to me. Chapter 32, which is in the Bobby part. And basically our main character meets with another character's ex-wife. The way that she lays everything out for the character is kind of like the idea of having splits in your timeline. Something can happen and that can set your life to go in this trajectory, or you could have gone in this way. And she's basically saying like everything kind of happened in the opposite way that maybe it should have. It's just such an interesting way to think, but I also think that it's not really a healthy way to think because if you just keep thinking about what could have been, then you're not thinking about the life that you're currently living or like the things that are in your current present or whatever. And I feel like that's going to make our main character spiral because it would make anyone spiral, especially someone in the situation that she's in. It's just such an interesting way to think and it's kind of fascinating to see it in a book like this that is, I mean, it is kind of love triangle-y, but it's also not like, it's not like a fantasy or sci-fi or anything like that. So to have this idea of these trajectories in your life is just, I mean, I think people talk about it all the time, but it feels like something that's normally brought up in like a sci-fi novel. Alrighty, it is 5:30 p.m. and I'm off work now. I've also walked pee, done all the things that I need to do. I'm also off for the entire weekend today. Today's Wednesday. Tomorrow is a holiday and then we have summer Fridays at work. So basically every summer you get a couple of like half days for free. So I'm using one of my summer Fridays for Friday plus a half day of PTO. So I can have like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday off completely. I have a 4-day weekend and I think that's like the perfect time to just get a little bit more reading done, just do whatever I want to do. I have a couple of productive things that I want to do, and then over the weekend itself, like Saturday and Sunday, I have a very busy Saturday and Sunday happening. So most of my reading will probably get done within the next 2 days. Tomorrow I have a appointment for my car and the place that I go to is not like a big chain place. It's like a little small place. So I'll probably spend a solid amount of time at Starbucks doing some editing, reading some books, like things like that, and just kind of like waiting for my car to be done. But for now, we're currently reading Broken Country and I want to see how much I can get done today because like I said, it's only 5:30. Ideally, I would like to finish this book today. Then tomorrow when we go to Starbucks, I can start something new. So I have 3 hours and 41 minutes left of this book. And if I were to read all of it tonight, I think I would finish by like around 9 p.m. So let's see if I could do it. Ryan's currently napping, so right now I could probably read, and then when he's done napping I'll probably get a little bit distracted, but who knows, maybe we can still do it. Let's see how much we can read. I'll keep you guys updated on anything exciting in the book. Yeah, that's kind of it for right now. I'm really liking it a lot and I can't stop thinking about it. So while I've been working, I've just been like wanting to read it, and because this is the book club pick for our book club with my friends, I've been asking them to please read it sooner rather than later so we can start start talking about it because it is just that good. So hopefully this is a recommendation to you guys. If you guys like these types of books, it's kind of like historical fiction, a little bit of mystery, not too like heavy mystery though, more of like this light fluffy type of mystery. But if you guys like that type of book, I think you'll like this one. Let's get into it and let's see how much we can read tonight. Alright, I just read another chapter that's like one of those trial chapters, and this book is really good at keeping it hidden who is actually on trial. Like at first I thought it was one person, then I thought it was somebody else, now it sounds like it's somebody else, so I really don't know who it is who has potentially murdered somebody, which is such a crazy thought. And we're getting so much more insight because as the years go on, like we're staying consistent with what's happening now, but we're also getting like more and more details about the past, and that's sort of catching up to the current timeline. I am on chapter 36 right now, but I'm almost on part 3 and there's 5 parts total. Not all of the parts are like equally interspersed. Like the 5th part only has 1 chapter in it, so I know that I'm over 50% of the way through, but I just feel like I still know so little, yet I know so much. I'm actually speechless. I didn't think this was gonna be, I mean, I did think that this is where we were going with the book, but also I'm sad. I'm really sad. It feels, I feel heartbroken. How can this happen? Like what? What do you mean? I'm like kind of floored, honestly. I didn't think that this was gonna happen, and I didn't think that this was gonna happen now. Yeah, I'm speechless right now. Hello you guys, good morning. It is Thursday. I keep forgetting what day today is because my week is all over the place. Today I have the day off like I was telling you guys yesterday, and so I'm gonna head off and I'm gonna go over to the auto shop to get my car looked at. I just have a few things happening, so I wanna get that looked out and checked out, and I'm gonna just pop over to a Starbucks while they're looking at it and do some editing, do some reading, and all of that good stuff. So hopefully we get a good amount of reading done. I thought I was gonna finish my book yesterday, but I did not. I got more distracted than I thought I was going to, but I did get a good chunk read. So I'm just past the 80% mark, and I have a bunch of thoughts. First of all, we find out how the son, Bobby, dies. It is so much worse than what I could have imagined. Like, I don't know what I was thinking, especially because like this family lives on a farm and you find out that, you know, someone else dies on the farm too. So like you're imagining something and then what actually happens is like insane. I also really love that this author, she kind of like does this thing where the whole book is it's just very emotional to read. Like the whole time you're there with the characters, you really feel like you know who they are, but you don't get that sense of like, oh my gosh, something huge is about to happen. Like there's slightly less of that buildup, but in a good way. Like I know that the way that I'm describing it probably sounds like a negative, but it's so good because all of a sudden then you come across a sentence and you're like, wait, excuse me? And you have to like reread it, and it's just so well done. I wanted to pull up a quote for you guys. Let me get out my Kindle because it was just so sad. Okay, this quote says, "We have not had the chance to speak since the wedding, but last night I caught him watching me across the tent from time to time. He looked so sad and it eats away at me. That sadness. It's rare for a person to be purely good. I'm not. Gabriel isn't, nor Jimmy, or probably even Nina, not all the time, but Frank has kindness running through him. Injuring him feels doubly cruel, like torture." This made me so sad because the whole time you know from the get-go, from the blurb of this book, that there's going to be a love triangle, and you kind of feel, you understand where our main character is coming from, but you still feel like sadness for everybody, like I was saying yesterday. Like I feel sad for her. I'm angry with her for making the decisions that she's made, but I'm also sad for her because she feels like she truly loves 2 different people, and also her seeing her hurt her husband is hard. Her husband being hurt is hard for us too. So all around, it's just, I think that quote really showed what I feel like the whole book, like the sentiment of the entire book, because it's really difficult. The book is so much more than the love triangle. I just don't want to give too much information, and so I'm really trying to limit it to anything that could be deduced from the blurb. Something else I wanted to mention was after we find out how her son dies, we stop seeing those past chapters, like whatever the like 1955 or whatever is, but that's just because so much time has passed that really there's only about a 2-year period from the present and from when the son died. So like there's just like this 2-year gap, and you still get sprinkles of that information. As someone who's now connected to these characters, I'm like, wait, I want to know everything. But I think that it was a really good choice because we also don't need to see our characters just like be depressed either, because we kind of get that, and we still get those sprinkles of information throughout the other chapters. Overall, I'm just like, I'm sad for our main character characters. I'm frustrated with them, like just all around. There's so many emotions going on in this book, and we're finally at a point where I think we're getting more information about the trial itself, which is still so vague, but now we know who is actually on trial, which for the longest time, like it was kind of a mix-up or like a shake-up of like, wait, who's actually there? Like you thought you knew, but then you kept second guessing yourself. So I'm excited to see how the trial ends. I'm like 2 chapters away from like the final thoughts on the trial, so I should be finding out soon, and I will certainly be finishing this book today because I have an hour left to read. So let's head over to the auto shop and then we'll get to Starbucks and get to some reading. Okay, I am still in like the Pasadena area, but my car is gonna take a little bit longer than expected because one of the noises is like a very specific like startup noise. So they need to keep my car overnight, which I anticipated, but I wasn't 100% sure, which is why I was just like hanging in this area. But at this point, Ryan's gonna be off work soon. So I'm just gonna go to a different cafe and hang out while he's working, and then he's gonna pick me up. Hello you guys, it's a little later than I anticipated to check in with you, but it's like 8:30 now. I ended up walking like 20,000 steps today. It was actually kind of insane. I wasn't anticipating walking that much, but I ended up having to leave my car at the auto shop because they need to be able to hear what's going on. So I left it there. And I just walked around for a while until Ryan was off work. I actually walked all the way to his work, which was like a little over an hour walk, but it was pretty nice. I didn't read I read some of my book this morning, but that was like before I like got out of bed. When I was out, I didn't read any of my book because when I was going to these different coffee shops, I was mostly doing editing that I needed to get like tackled, which felt very productive, but I didn't get to read. However, I did start a new book because I did a lot of walking, like I mentioned. And with that, I was like, well, I might as well listen to an audiobook. So I started this book called Listen for the Lie. It is by Amy Tintera. I think I'm saying her name right. My friend told me to listen to it or just generally read it, and I actually am really happy that I'm listening to it because there's a podcast element to this book, and it's so fun to actually like hear the character do like the podcasty voice and things like that. So I'm on, it just says track 9. I don't know if that's chapter 9 or if that like aligns a little differently with the book, but I'm about 10% of the way through, so I'm not very far. It's essentially about this girl who, I think it was 5 years ago, she kind of like came to with her friend's blood on her dress and like skin under her fingernails, and her friend was dead. And she doesn't know what happened, like she truly has no recollection. Since then, the case has kind of gone cold, but she truly doesn't remember if she had anything to do with her friend's murder. At this point, it's 5 years later. She's moved out of her like small hometown in Texas and she now lives in Los Angeles, but a new podcaster has come around and is starting to investigate what happened to her best friend, and so wants to talk to her, and she hasn't responded to them. So slowly they start to release podcast episodes with other people who were like around in this small town when the murder happened. So that's really all I know so far, and that's just basically like the premise of the book. I think that the main character is like kind of interesting because she's very like, I don't even know like a word to describe her. She's kind of just like in your face. Like there are points where she's talking about her boyfriend, and her boyfriend hears the podcast and he's kind of just like, are you gonna tell me your side of the story? Because this is like news to him that she was even like a part of this case at all, because it didn't like hit big time news for whatever reason. She's just in her head, like you get a lot of like her internal thoughts in this book, and in her head she's like, oh, he's just like, he should just man up and break up with me already. Like I can't believe he hasn't done that yet. Like maybe I should give him the opportunity to break up with me, like things like that. So I don't know, she's just kind of, I don't know a word to describe her, but she's just kind of like, she's a different type of main character than what I'm used to. It is very interesting, but I like the storyline so far. I really like the podcasty type chapters, which is really fun and like different. I imagine that they would kind of read as a transcript if you were reading the book, but they actually make it sound like you're listening to a podcast in the audiobook, which is really cool. They have like a different voice actor and all of that. I'm gonna get back to a mix of reading my 2 books because that's really what I've I've been looking forward to for all of today. I'm sad that I didn't get to read as much of my book today as I wanted to, my other book, Broken Country, because I've been obsessed with it and I only have an hour left. So maybe we will still finish it today, but it is already 8:30, so we shall see. I'll probably end up finishing it tomorrow. I also have the whole like rest of this week off, so Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So we'll have a lot of reading time between these two books, and then obviously if I finish Broken Country, then maybe we'll start another one. Yeah, that's kind of it for right now. It was kind of a long day, but also I felt very productive, and hopefully I can pick up my car soon. I'm hoping that they diagnose the problem like ASAP and we'll be able to get it back, because we have a lot of plans this weekend and then we have plans next weekend too, and I'm actually going out of town next weekend, so glad it's getting fixed though. Let's go read and enjoy the rest of our evening. Good morning, you guys. Today's Friday. I'm starting the day off with some reading. We have a few things happening today. First and foremost, we're going to be reading. I am finishing up Broken Country. I have 40 minutes left of my book. First of all, I was reading this morning and we found out how the end of the trial goes. It makes me want to cry. It's just such an emotional, like 2 chapters. There's 2, like the last day of trial and then the final verdict. It all makes perfect sense and it all is the way that I think it needed to go, but it's just, they're both just really sad chapters. Just everything that they talk about during the trial too, like it's a lot. We also go back to the day of the crime, because you can kind of tell that like what they're saying happened in trial is not actually what happened, and they're like protecting somebody. I mean, you know that from chapter 1 when like people are like looking at each other like, yes, say that. You finally find out like what actually happened, which like right before that chapter happens, you're like, wait a second, is this what happens? And then you get the confirmation, and I think that was fantastic. And now I have 2 chapters left of my book. I'm on the second to last chapter, so chapter 59, and it's a before chapter, which we haven't seen since like part 2, I think. I haven't finished this chapter. I'm like a third of the way through this before chapter, but it tackles what happens between her breaking up with the first guy and eventually getting together with her husband. And there's this weird time that happens between these two that the whole book you're kind of like, how did this come to be? And you're slowly learning more information throughout the other like later chapters, but this chapter in particular is just like tackling it all. This is what I've been wanting to know for so long. So this book has just been emotional ups and downs. I'm so tied to these characters. Like I can't see a world where I don't rate this 5 stars. And something that I think I really enjoy about it too is like, even though now we kind of like know all the information, the author withheld enough info that the last few chapters, while she's tying things up, you're still interested in wanting to read, because sometimes you'll get to like towards the end of the book and you'll like find out what happens, but then you have like 30 minutes left of your book, but you're like, I don't really care. So you kind of have to like trudge through that last tie up, and the way that she did it was just so perfect. I actually would be intrigued to read more of this author's writing. I've never read anything by this author. It sounds so silly, but I used to really like Reese's Book Club books, and over the years I kind of also feel like I've just not really leaned toward them. Like they feel kind of like they're gonna be, I don't know, just I haven't liked a lot of the more recent ones. So I was actually nervous because I saw that it is a Reese's Book Club pick, but I'm glad that that didn't steer me away from reading it, because it's truly fantastic. So I'm so excited to read more and find out all the things that I've been wanting to find out literally since like page 1. This book is just so good. Like please read it. All of the things that I've told you are all things that are like very early on, or like you could have deduced from early on, and there's so much depth to this book that I think it is truly fantastic. So if you guys are looking for a new book, I highly recommend this one. But I'm gonna get back into it and finish up this last few chapters, and I'm in this phase where I don't want the book to be over, because I love these characters and I don't want them to be gone, but also I want to know what happens, and so I want to read. We're gonna finish it right now. Good morning, you guys. Today is Saturday. I did not update you guys much yesterday, so I apologize for that. I finished Broken Country though, and it was so good. Oh my god, I need you guys to read it. I'm not normally this passionate about other people reading a book that I read. Like normally I'm like, I really enjoyed it, you guys should totally read it. But this is one that I was like, wow, everybody should read it. It was just so fantastic. It was just, I don't know, it was just so well done. I loved everything about it. Clearly I gave it 5 stars. Toward the end of the book, I think I had updated you like when I had like just under an hour left. So I feel like you guys got a lot of my updates, but toward the end of the book, you get that piece of chapter where it's like you figure out what happened in that like in between time, and it was just so beautiful. There's also this like very interesting, I don't know if I want to call it quite like a metaphor, but like this interesting part of like, there's this one place on the farm that is so important to our main characters for so many reasons, because it's like their favorite place in the world, but simultaneously it's a place that has really caused them a lot of pain. And so seeing how it stems from, like, we know from the beginning that it causes them a lot of pain, but seeing how it started and how it was one of their favorite places in the entire world is just such a cool, I don't even know what type of literary element that is, but it's such a cool thing to see. And just generally like seeing what happens at the very end, and just I don't usually cry in books very often. Like I have to have a lot of emotion, which I feel like has only really happened at like a Kristen Hanna book, but I was tearing up and I was getting chills. Like it was just, the ending was so perfect, and I don't know, I loved it. It was so fantastic. So gave that one 5 stars. I've also been listening to Listen for the Lie, and I really like it. I'm really enjoying that I decided to read it as an audiobook, mostly because it has those elements of like an actual podcast in it, which is really fun. I don't know how far I am in the book though, because I kind of fell asleep listening to it. I think I'm gonna circle back to, I made it all the way to track 37. So the tracks are actually not the same as the actual chapter numbers, because I think in the book, like the podcast chapters don't have chapter numbers, but I think I'm gonna go back to like track 25 or 29, something around that, just to re-listen to a couple of the pieces that I think I fell asleep to. But the chapters are also so short. They're like 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes. So I didn't miss a lot of content. I probably fell asleep for like 20, 30 minutes, but I just want to make sure I get every bit of it. I like that we don't necessarily have an unreliable narrator, which I don't mind. Like I think those stories are so fun, but it's more that our narrator truly doesn't know what happened. And so then she's just like, I don't know, you have to investigate for me, because I don't have any memory of what happened. I don't know if I did something. And so basically this podcaster is like going in and trying to investigate the situation and trying to interview as many people as possible to see what happened to this girl. It's more mystery, it's not really thriller, but I really like it a lot. And then this morning I started Hunger Games Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which I have not picked up yet. I just reread maybe like a month or 2 ago all of the Hunger Games series. So this is the like next book in the series. This is a prequel where it talks about President Snow and like his history essentially. You find out in the first chapter that he's actually like extremely poor, which I'm very surprised by. So I'm excited to just like learn more. And in general, all of the cameos that have already been made, like Tigress is in here. There was somebody else that they mentioned. Oh, there's like the academy that he goes to has like a hall, and it's called Heavensby Hall, which I think that was the Plutarch's last name. So anyway, there's just like already some fun cameos, and especially because I read it recently, I don't think I would have remembered these things. So I'm glad that I read it, watched the movies, all of that. And when I'm done with it, I get to watch the movie, which is extra exciting. And then we can go on to the next Hunger Games book, which is the one that I'm the most excited about, but I want to read them in order. That's what we're doing this morning. I have some plans today at 9:30, so in about an hour. So I'm gonna read for a little bit longer and then get ready. And then after I'm done with hanging out with some friends, we don't have any other plans for the day, so we'll just be here hanging out, doing our own thing. Hello you guys, it is 7:30 p.m. on Sunday. I haven't talked to you guys in a second because I feel like the last half of this week has just kind of been chaotic, for lack of a better word. Between Thursday having all of the car maintenance stuff, and then Friday Ryan also had the day off, so we had a lot of hangout time. Saturday I just didn't read. I have no excuse for Saturday. I didn't really do anything. And then today has been super busy, and I just haven't read as much as I normally would have liked to. I feel like lately especially I have not been reading as much on the weekends as I used to. Like I'm getting more reading done weekday mornings in particular, which is very different, but that's fine as long as I'm reading. I have been trying to read the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes on my Kindle. I have been really wanting to read this book like a lot, and I even like reread all of the Hunger Games series so that I can read this book and the next one. I think I'm like super excited for the next one, that I haven't like mentally prepared myself for this one. Like I'm already just like, I can't wait for the next one, if that makes sense, which is like, I need to just stop that. I'm only on chapter 1. I'm like also a slow reader, and so chapter 1 itself is taking me a hot second, and I didn't really know what this book was actually about really. So I'm only 15 pages in, but I have 20 minutes left of the chapter. It's just a longer first chapter. It's like almost 30 pages. Yeah, I feel like I'm kind of just making excuses for myself when I really shouldn't, but it is, you're back in the world, which is the nice thing. Like I feel like Suzanne Collins is a really good writer, and so once I'm reading it, I'm like, oh my god, I forgot that I'm here. And so I know that it's only because I'm not even all the way through chapter 1 that I'm kind of like, I don't know, like not picking it up really, on top of just being busy this week. So we're gonna pick it up right now. We're gonna get some reading done. I want to just like get a few things done before we are heading off to start getting ready for bed, because I have to take my car back to the shop tomorrow. Yeah, that's the whole thing. So anyway, long story short, let's get to some reading. I want to read. We have 2 hours before we go to bed, so I want to just like do it and get started on this book, because I know that once I get started, I'm gonna be so excited. So far, all I really know is we're getting to know who President Snow was as a child. I shouldn't say child, he's like high school age. Anyway, enough rambling. I'm gonna get to some reading and just dive into this book. Finally, I've been meaning to do this for literal years, so I'm excited that we're finally here. Hello you guys. Unfortunately I did not read a lot of Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes last night. I don't know why. Sometimes I am in the mood to watch TV to go to bed, and sometimes I'm in the mood to read to go to bed. I think especially after finishing Broken Country, it's hard for me to get into a book, which is silly because Songbirds and Snakes already is so good, but I'm just like not picking it up. I don't know what's going on there. But point being, I didn't read as much as I should have probably read. I'm still only like halfway through chapter 2 right now, so as the vlogs continue, I will certainly update you guys on how the reading is going. But I do feel very good about the fact that we got to read Broken Country this week, and we're started First Light Winds, which I'm really enjoying as well. I finally got some hours back in Spotify, so I can go back to reading that too, because I had run out of my hours, but I'm really enjoying it. So I'm on, I don't know what chapter I'm on, honestly. We're on track 30 now. Anyway, long story short, I've been really enjoying all of the reading that we've been doing lately. I feel like I've been picking up really good books too, so that's a good feeling. That being said, I think that that's going to be the end for this video. I do feel like we did a good amount of reading. Thank you guys for being here and for watching. Let me know in the comments below what you're currently reading or what you're hoping to pick up soon. Like what's the book that's been like, ooh, I really want to pick that one up. I always love to hear your guys' recommendations. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being here, you guys. I truly appreciate it, and I love talking to you guys during my days about books, all of it. So thank you. If you made it to this point in this video, please consider subscribing. It really helps out my channel. That is all I have though, so thank you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.